Kombucha, Hosh, Omadid, and welcome to this new session, this new reading aloud with Plumas here in our little corner, in our little mountain of the internet. How are you, Chatori? Are you in good health? I'm so happy because I'm finally wearing long sleeves. It's like a dream. Cold has finally come to the place I live, and that has me beyond excited. I am honestly so happy for that to be occurring. Finally. It's taken a while. But yet here we are. How is everyone? I apologize for the delay and the jumping around these session of the Book of Kings because life. That's the only explanation I have. That's the reason I didn't want to put up to Salam Tira, Salam Gatzelot. I didn't want to put up 2 readings per month because I knew that my life is a wee bit busy and these things may happen. And something that I intensively dislike is scheduling something and then having to move it around or cancel it. I'd rather not say anything than say that I'm going to do live stream and a really loud session on one day and then on the same afternoon having to jump on Discord or Telegram and saying, hey, do you know what? Something popped up. I cannot do that. Let's reschedule. I can't. It's one of my biggest, if not my biggest, pet peeve. It's still around. What's camera's funny today, and I don't know why. The green screen is also funny, which is fair. I mean, it's almost Halloween. The Jinn are all over the place, and I encourage them to do so. So we are gonna have this dancing bug behind me, apparently. So yeah, not a problem with me. Okay, so without further ado, what do you say we start with what has brought us here today together, joined us in, I was going to say harmony, but not at all, because is something the Book of Kings does not know about, is indeed harmony. Allow me to do a little wee recap to tell you more or less what was happening the last time we read. We're still with Shāh-nāmeh, and where I was going to get ahead of the plot and saying that things are going to get a little bit tough for our young protagonist, but they rather shut up, for a long time. You hear the music, by the way. I think it's running. I mean, I can hear the music. At least I know it's playing. Yeah, I can hear the music. Can you? If it's too low, just tell me. Put up just a teensy bit because I don't want it to be intrusive, yet I want something in the background playing because I reckon it's much nicer when you are doing a storytelling session to have somewhat this soundtrack to it. So Shāh-nāmeh. Oh boy. So Shāh-nāmeh had gone to war instead of Kai Kavuz, his father, because Kai Kavuz was too comfortable in his palace, playing reconciliation with his lover, Shāh-nāmeh. And Shāh-nāmeh saw the opportunity and took it because, I don't know if you remember the, let's call it incident with Shāh-nāmeh, but that happened and that was terrible. And please, let's not remember that. But Shāh-nāmeh found in the excuse of war the justification for him leaving the palace and therefore getting as much distance between him and Shāh-nāmeh as possible, because that woman cannot take a hint, can she? So war happened, and as combat develops between Turan and Iran, Afrazyab, the leader, the king of the Turanians, realized he did not want to go to war anymore and proposed a truce, a signing of peace, a treatment to put an end to this very long-going war. Shāh-nāmeh was very happy. Rostam was very happy as well, but they didn't know how to tell Kavuz because his spirit was very much is very much inclined to war, and Turan were the enemies, like the the spiritual, physical, conceptual, everything enemies of Iran. Therefore, they should not be spared, and peace was never an option, at least not to Kaikavus's thought. Hello, Slothinator. I'm ready for the trauma, he says. Oh boy. Oh boy. Haha. Okay. Good to know, I think. Thank you for accompanying me. You know how much I enjoy you being present. Siavash was at an emotional crossroads because he didn't know how to deliver the news that he had agreed to a peace signing with Iran's eternal enemy, which is Turan. Rostam, his godfather, the person, please stick with me with this one, the person who really rose and helped Siavash during his life was Rostam, not Kavuz. I mean, Rostam played much more as a father than Kavuz ever did. Ever. And I know, strong thing I'm saying here, I know, but that is the thing. So Rostam offered to go before Kavuz and deliver the news himself, because he knows a little bit better Kavuz's spirit and temper, and he doesn't want to put his nephew, quote unquote, through that situation. As you can imagine, Kavuz doesn't take very well the news and splatters vileness and poison through his tongue and a lot of shite. I mean, shite really hits the fan in here, and Rostam just storms out the room and just sets off into the horizon. I don't know where he goes. But the thing is that Siavash receives the information. He's informed that Tus is, he's set off his way by orders of Kaikavuz, and he is to take over the role of commander of the army and continue the hostilities against Turan. Therefore, Siavash leaves his two men of his most trusted men behind with instructions of what to do, and then he leaves. He abandons the encampment because he doesn't want to go back to Kaikavuz, although Kaikavuz's orders were for him to return immediately. However, he's not stupid, he doesn't want to do that. And while Siavash is given no other option than exile, which is something that I know I joke about the Book of Kings a lot in here, but this is something serious and quite severe for a prince, for everyone to have to be forced to abandon his land, his territory, his home, forced by the circumstances is always a hard trauma to endure. But for Siavash is even stronger because it's his own father, the one who is pushing him away. But this news reached the ears of Afrasiab, again the king of the Turanians, and Afrasiab said, how is this going to be possible? I shall forbid Siavash going away. And he welcomed Siavash into his kingdom. He sent a letter to Siavash telling him, hey, if you want, you can stay with us and be our prince. I shall respect you. Salam, Nana. How are you? I shall respect you and love you like the prince you are. And Siavash agreed. So that is where we are going to take it up from. And Siavash decided to travel to Turan to stay there. This is huge. This is a big thing. I mean, the Iranian heir prince is seeking refuge, seeking sanctuary at the kingdom of Turan. This is severe. This is very serious. Yet, let's see what the circumstances are holding for us. As the sun set, and I start the reading here, and the air grew dark, and the world forbidding, Siavash led his men towards the Oxus, his face obscured by tears. Again, Butcher, this is not something easy for anyone, let alone Siavash. He is heartbroken. His little tiny heart is torn to pieces. And remember, Siavash is a what we say in Mexico, at least they say that, a bread of God, a pan de Dios, and he should be protected. He's the best person in the entirety of the Shāh-nāmeh. Zero doubts about that. This is the hill I will die on. Siavash is the best person. He has the best heart, the best intentions, the cleanest, purest, most righteous soul. And this is the hill I will die on. So, at Termes, which is a city, the streets and roofs were decorated to welcome him, so that spring, with all its tints and scents, seemed to have come. And each of the towns they passed through seemed like a bride arrayed in splendor. At Kashgar, he dismounted and rested for a while. When the news of his approach arrived, Piran chose 1,000 knights and rode out to welcome him, taking as a gift 4 richly caparisoned white elephants and 100 horses with gold-worked saddles. If you don't remember Piran is a person that Afrasiab really trusts. He's one of his generals and someone who has been by Afrasiab's side for quite a while. Cheers, it is such a tea day, by the way. I am beyond happy. Are you having a kupa? Are you having any drinks as you listen to this? Because I am extremely interested in what you're drinking. Why? Because I am your pelican mom and I need to know you're staying hydrated. Although if you tell me you're having a Coke, a Red Bull, or an energy drink, I'm going to also admit it. Like, okay, fine. And I wanted to talk about this welcoming performance ceremony that many of the characters do, because it's one of my favorite traditions from the Central Asian tribes. What are you drinking, Gatsalot? Do you drink plain water? Fantastic, stay hydrated. I cannot drink enough more water for today. I think I choked down, more than 2 liters today. I was thirsty. So this welcome rite consists of someone that is on the place there was terrible Spanish. Let me try to rephrase that. So if you are visiting someone, the people waiting for you at your destination will get notice of when you are supposed to arrive and then drive out to meet you midway, and then you will do the rest of the journey together. This is something the Mongols do super often, and it is described in multiple manuscripts and chronicles. And in fact, if you've ever had the chance to watch the series Marco Polo on Netflix, I'm not going to judge the quality of the series as a series, but historytelling wise, it is quite good. The representation of the Mongol Empire and the Khanate and the traditions and the dressing, it is solid. They did their research. It's a pity that it got cancelled. I think it got cancelled. But definitely was a good show to watch, to learn a little bit more about the customs or the traditions of the Mongols as nomads. Because this is a sign of respect. You are paying tribute to the hardships of the way, of the journey, by accompanying your visitor. This is something that's done of the utmost respect, and I really like it. Although in Marco Polo, what you see is they do that within 500 meters. They try it, but originally, what you would do ideally is meet the person within a day distance of your destination, something like that. And remember that Turan is supposed to be Central Asia. Therefore, the Turanians have this nomadic coat on them, although it's not much explored in the Shāh-nāmeh, but they are nomadic people. They are people from the steppes, and they therefore behave as such. And I love that I have the Shāh-nāmeh to explain these little things to you, because I think it's beautiful that we have a book that we can enjoy and learn at the same time. And yet again, because the Shāh-nāmeh is the best book ever written in history. Salam Bizir! I am on the radio. I feel so important when you tell me that, because I feel like a true podcaster, although I am far from being a podcaster. But thank you, I always appreciate it. So, Piran comes not only to welcome our young prince, but bearing gifts. As soon as Shāh-nāmeh saw his banners, Piran's, and heard the elephants trumpeting, he hurried toward him. The two embraced, and Shāh-nāmeh said, "Why have you troubled yourself by traveling like this? My only hope has been to see you alive and well." Because let us remember that it was because Shāh-nāmeh's command that Piran was allowed to go home, because he was being held, I don't want to say hostage, but he was held hostage in the Iranian camp. And how cute is this people? Not these people, sorry, my brain betrays me. How cool and cute and adorable and sweet and que te como la cara is this kid. Why have you troubled yourself by traveling like this? Because you would have done the same. Shāh-nāmeh is just a Azizam, you're top pure, pan de Dios, bread of God. We should protect you from everything in this world. And of course in the radio says nosotros and the heart. Now it's like commuting home. Okay, so have a safe drive and don't text and drive. I shall be your company for today. We stand Shāh-nāmeh, we do. We do get a lot. So strongly. I love him. And Piran kissed his head and feet and his handsome face and gave thanks to God, saying, "O Lord, of what is hidden and what is plain, if I had seen such a man in a dream world, I would have restored my youth to me." This is something particular that may come across a bit odd to us Western audiences. The fact that I'm a very grown man, because Piran is not an elder, but close to that, is kissing the face and the feet of a person much younger than him. This is a sign of respect. Piran can do that because he's an elder. I mean, a young person would not do this to an older person. No, this is something that has to do with age. And also, do not interpret this as any kind of kink or naughtiness to it. No, absolutely not. He's just respecting Shāh-nāmeh a lot. And what he says is particularly endearing, I find, is heartwarming somehow, because he says he's so fascinated by the figure and the person that Shāh-nāmeh is, that he claims that would he had seen someone like him in his dreams, he would be young again. That is the capability, that is the capacity of Shāh-nāmeh to, we've said that multiple times, to light up the room wherever he steps on, and to bring this natural light and joy in the hearts of those who are in his company. That is his superpower. And Piran continues, and to Shāh-nāmeh he said, "I praise God that I see you before me as clearly as the daylight. Afrazia will be like a father to you, and all on our side of the oxes are as your slaves. I have over 1,000 henchmen who are yours to command, and if you can accept an old man's service, I stand ready to obey you." The two rode forward then, the cheerful chat wandering at random over this and over that. The towns they passed were filled with music sound, and scattered musk and gold obscured the ground. But seeing this, the prince's eyes grew dim. Old, melancholy memories troubled him. His heart recalled great Rostam's land, Zabul, the grandeur and the beauty of Kabul. Then all Iran beset him, place by place. He blushed of shame, and turned away his face. But wise Piran saw all his misery and bit his lip in pain and sympathy. I particularly like these fragments because I mentioned before that this was not easy for Shāh-nāmeh, and this is a part where the poem makes sure that we don't forget that for Shāh-nāmeh, this is utterly painful. And something I like is that Ferdowsi, when he's writing, he specifies that Shāh-nāmeh is missing Rostam. but not his father. He's missing Zabul and he's missing Rostam because there is where he grew up. There he was educated and trained to be a magnificent warrior. So this is something bittersweet for Shāh-nāmeh, and I like that the poem reminds us as such. And also, I like the reaction of Piran, because I think it's very human. Salam, Captain! Hey! I think it's very human of Piran, because he doesn't know exactly the child. He doesn't know what to say. And to be honest, what would you say in a situation as that? Difficult. But still, he's just there, and he's sad because the little prince is, feeling under the weather. However, I say little prince. Shāh-nāmeh is around his 20s, okay? The Shāh-nāmeh doesn't give these kind of details. We don't need them. We can make them up on our own. We don't need you, Fardowsi, to give us exact dates or like a proper description of people's growth. Oh no. Years and age work in a very particular, I like to say it, way. The travelers rested a while, and gazing in wonder at him, Piran said, "You seem like one of the ancient kings. You have 3 qualities which together make you unique. First, that you are of the seed of Kaikobad. Another, that you speak eloquently and honestly. And third, that your countenance radiates grace." This is how powerful Shāh-nāmeh's presence is. And I love it. I really like that, how it is described. And the reference to the ancient kings. To the Sasanians. To which kings? The Sasanians, none other. Although they don't specify the other Sasanians. Why? You may think, but Plumas Khanum. The Sasanians appear in the Book of Kings, and technically they will come after Shāh-nāmeh because they occupy the latter part of the Shāh-nāmeh. And you would not be wrong. That is entirely true. Yet, the ancient kings these people are referring to are the Sasanians, and those kings contained in the Shāh-nāmeh, which is one of the many sources of the Shāh-nāmeh. This is the thing. This ancient idea, whatever pastime was better than the one we're living currently. A very famous Spanish writer composed a poem about that. Cualquier tiempo pasado fue mejor. What is the name of this person? Jorge Manrique? I forgot. Pichu, I know you know. But yeah, these idea of the epic, magnificent, brilliant past where everything was better, basically. They are referring to the Sasanians, because let's not forget this book was written in 2020. I was going to say, no, in 1010. So they don't specify the Sasanians, but they are referring to this ancient empire. They thought it was a construct. But Fardowsi doesn't refer to a particular timeline with historical facts as we would approach to them today. He's just, playing the nostalgia card. The ancient nostalgia card. Does that make sense? Am I explaining myself? Because with these things, I sometimes feel like I'm not that good at delivering my ideas. Not with any others, but... Shāh-nāmeh then replied to this massive chain of compliments he just received. "You are renowned throughout the world for your good faith and kindness, for your hatred of evil and Ahriman. Swear to me now, and I know you will not break your word. If my presence here is good, I should not weep. But if it is not good, then tell me, and show me the way to another country." This kid, my God, I love him. He knows, he's been told he's welcome, that this Turan is his home now, but he still wants to check because he's not sure. He doesn't want to disturb. Oh yeah, Pichu, I'm gonna switch to Spanish for a wee bit. Pichu, el de las coplas a la muerte de su padre, ¿Cómo se llama esa persona? ¿Es Manrique? ¿Es Jorge Manrique? ¿El de Cualquier tiempo pasado fue mejor? Es que no me acuerdo del nombre. Por favor, ayuda, capitán. Okay, back to English. Piran said, don't dwell on the fact that you have left Iran. Trust to Afrasiab's kindness and be in no hurry to leave us. His reputation is bad in the world, but this is undeserved. I have things to say about this. I'm gonna carry on. He's a God-fearing man. He's wise and cautious in his counsels, and it's not given to making hasty, harmful decisions. We're talking about a man that split his own brother in two because Al-Ghrida's dead to oppose him. He's famous and deserved? Really though? I will explain later why the Shāh-nāmeh is doing this. Okay. Piran continues, I'm related to him and I'm both his champion and advisor. In this land, over 100,000 horsemen are mine to command. 12,000 are from my own tribe and, if I wish, will wait on me day and night. I have weapons, territory, flocks of sheep and much more in reserve. I can live independently of everyone. All that I have I place at your disposal if you will agree to live here. I have accepted you as a trust from God, and I shall let no harm come to you, though no one knows what fate holds in store for them. Siavash was comforted by these words, his spirits revived, and they sat to their wine, Piran as a father, Siavash as a son. Thank you. It was Jorge Manrique. Thank you so much, Bachar. Don't worry, it's okay. So why is Ferdowsi doing this? Because you may think, wasn't this person, Afrasiab, the one we're talking about, the same one that was described as a despotic tyrant few episodes ago, like 100 pages back? This person was a monster, bloodthirsty creature. Why is it the Shāh-nāmeh is switching so severely when describing Afrasiab's character? Alright, so the Shāh-nāmeh is a quite strongly Manichaean book, meaning that the good are fantastic and the bad are terrible. But each part requires from the listeners that they stay in a position depending on what the narrative events are at the moment. Why do I say this? Because at this point, the Shāh-nāmeh needs us to consider Afrasiab under a good light and a good heart, because he's the one welcoming Siavash. He is performing a fantastic, great deed, something very positive, something very good. Yet, the poem voluntarily is suspending a bit reality and forgetting this person, Afrasiab, was the same person who spilled the blood of multiple people in the past and so brutally and cruelly murdered, because I don't have another word for that, murdered his own brother and many others. The poem is not forgetting. It is suspending reality for a moment because we need to feel what Siavash is feeling. And at this point, Siavash is feeling safe and welcomed and loved. If we were not to follow Siavash's sentiment, that would be a little bit, more complicated. Also, bear in mind that this book was not, because I said listeners, I love reminding you this. This book was not meant to be read silently at home. This book was meant to be listened to because performances and professional reciters were hired in the courts and in the public spaces to perform the Shāh-nāmeh. And, people forget about these characters. Since their narrative role, I am delving into the narrative designer ocean. I shall go back. It's a moral dichotomy, definitely. It's over 8,000. Absolutely, Pichu, you are correct. Salam, sacerdotisa, how are you? So this is why, this is the reasoning behind it. The sole reasoning is that we need to feel as Seavash is feeling. We need to stay in the moment, present, because you've seen this before. You've seen how Kaikavos is treated like a wise person, guided by the winds of sanity. And then 20 pages after, it's completely different, and Kaikavos is being called an idiot by his own subjects. So esto es no parar. It's like, it's never ending. It's never stopping. Let us continue the journey. Cheerful and laughing, they press on to Gang, a beautiful site where the Turkic monarch held court. Afrasiab came rushing out on foot to greet them, and as soon as he saw the king approaching, Seavash dismounted and ran forward. Another sign of respect. You step down the horse, dismount, because the king is coming to you on foot, and therefore you need to match. They embraced, they kissed each other's eyes and head, you see, against the kissing king. And Afrasiab said, "The world's evil sleeps. From now on, neither revolt nor war will break out. The leopard and the lamb will share one watering place. Brave Tur, oh no, Tur, set the world in a turmoil." He did much more than that, let me remind you. Brave Tur set the world in a turmoil, but now our countries are tired of war. They have fought for too long, blind to the ways of peace. Through you, we shall rest from battles and the longing from blood revenge. The land of Turan is your slave. The hearts of all here are full of love for you. And all I have, my body and my soul, are yours. May you live healthily and happily here. All our treasures are yours. I will treat you with a father's love and always smile upon you. Seavash replied, "May your lineage never forfeit its good fortune." Seavash, Azizam, don't say that too loud, okay? Then Afrasiab took Seavash's hand, led him to the throne, and sat down. He gazed at Seavash's face and said, "I know of nothing like this in all the earth. In the world, men are not like this, with such a face, such a stature, such royal fur." Because the fur has way back abandoned, like it's gone entirely from Kaikavos. However, the fur shines brightly and powerfully on Seavash. Of course it does. Like, Seavash is the embodiment of fur, if you ask me. He has the royal blessing. Of course he does. How could he not? How could he not? And you may notice that they compliment Seavash physically quite a lot. This is nothing weird or particular. It is something valued in Iranian thought at the time, because, well, why not saying it? Seavash is gorgeous. He's handsome. He's pretty. He's a pretty boy. He's beautiful to look at, and in more than one sense, meaning that, yeah, he's beautiful inside and outside. So people are fascinated because they really believe they are in the presence of some kind of supernatural being, because men are not like that. They do not look like that. Not normally. So I like that they say that he's cute. Excuse me, he's handsome. Way more than cute. He's much more than cute. He's a pan de Dios. He's the bread of God. He must be protected. Turning to Piran, Afrasiab said, "Kapuz is old and sadly wanting in wisdom if he can give up such a noble and accomplished son." Yes, he is. Kapuz is an idiot. Afrasiab had one of his palaces set aside for his guest, and it was spread with gold-worked carpets, and a golden throne with legs fashioned like the heads of a buffalo was placed there. The walls were hung with Chinese brocade, and a multitude of servants were assigned to it. Shāh-nāmeh entered, and its arc seemed to touch the heavens. He sat on the throne, lost in thought, until a servant called him to dine with the king. The meal passed in pleasantries, and then the courtiers sat to their wine while musicians played in the background. Afrasiab pledged his heart to Shāh-nāmeh and swore he'd known no rest without him. They drank till darkness fell, and by the time everyone was tipsy, you're enjoying yourselves, guys, Shāh-nāmeh had forgotten about Iran, and in his drunken state he returned to his own quarters. Afrasiab said to his son, Shideh, "Ladies and gentlemen, dear Bachar, in the crowd we have a new character, Shideh. Shideh is one of the sons of Afrasiab. He has multiple. We're going to stay with this one, Shideh. And he says to him, take some of our nobles at dawn to Shāh-nāmeh as he's waking up, and have them present him with gifts, slaves, fine horses, well-worked boots, and have the army take him cash and jewels. Do this in a dignified, welcoming way." And the king himself sent many, many more gifts, and so a week passed by. So basically what we're doing is the Shāh-nāmeh is gathering a small fortune for himself. So he made this pose of that. I mean, every prince has his own treasury. The thing about taking people and present them to Shāh-nāmeh at dawn, given that it is ridiculous o'clock in the morning at Shāh-nāmeh is drunk. Drunk as a bass, we say in Spanish. The hangover is going to be very interesting. Anyway, so a week passed by. One evening, the king said to Shāh-nāmeh, "Let's get up at dawn tomorrow. What is the obsession with dawn, people? And enjoy ourselves at Chogan." If you read the book, originally translated by Dick Davies, the one I'm reading to you, you would see the word here is not Chogan, it's polo. You know polo, the sport? The one that you play with sticks and horses and a ball. However, the proper word for it is not polo, it's Chogan. The original name for it is Chogan. And apparently, it is original, again, it is original from Central Asia and was tremendously popular in Iran throughout the whole, say, from the 9th, maybe even before that, from 9th to the 16th, 17th, 18th century, it was extremely popular. So popular. It from a moment like around the 17th century, the Ottoman sultans also get the crack out of it and master Chogan. So there's a lot of manuscripts representing Chogan both in modern day Turkey, Ottoman Turkey, and Iran and the Persianate. But I cannot emphasize enough how important and enjoyable this sport was, either to play it or to watch it. People loved Chogan so much. In fact, not this edition, because my edition of the Dick Davies' Shāh-nāmeh is old, very old. But the modern one, the new Penguin Classic Deluxe edition of the Shāh-nāmeh, has a manuscript on the cover of people playing Chogan. This is how popular the sport is. I mean, for the Iranian culture, fundamental. I remember the scene from The Man Who Would Be King playing polo with humans. I mean, there's always varieties to it, Pichu. Categories. In here, they're not going to play with head. They're going to play with a ball, a regular one. I was going to say, this is PG rated. It is absolutely not. 19th century Orientalism at its finest. Of course, because, you know what? I do believe that possibly, at any given point in history, someone played Choran with a head. I mean, I am 150% sure, because we humans are disgusting. However, normally you would play Choran with a bow, because I can't believe I'm going to say this. I don't know if you've ever made a skull roll, but it is difficult because it's not a perfect sphere, and it is quite annoying to have to kick and hit a human head because it doesn't roll as desired. Thus, the people were not stupid. When they wanted to truly play Choran, they used a bow. Why do I say that? Why do I know how a human head rolls? Don't ask. Please do not ask. Okay, so on the evening, the king says to Shāh-nāmeh, let us get up at dawn tomorrow and enjoy ourselves at Choran. I've heard that when you play, your mullet is invincible. Shāh-nāmeh agreed, and the next morning they made their way, laughing and joking, to the field where the king suggested they divide up their companions, with Shāh-nāmeh heading one of the team and he the other one. But Shāh-nāmeh said, I can't be your rival. Choose some other opponent and let me ride on your side if you think I'm good enough. What is that? Gatsalot, would you tell us about the skulls if we asked? I think I would, yeah. Come for the story, stay for the school ball fact. Okay, so when I was in Iran, I stayed for a while. I used to go to the mountains to train, to learn how to shoot with a bow and arrow from a horse. I was terrible. I never did that, but it was good fun. And I had the pleasure to stay for a competition, an international competition of horseback archery. It was the most impressive thing I've seen in my whole life. And there was this theatrical aspect to it, and they brought some plastic skulls, not truly bone human skulls. They were plastic, or made of plastic, to do this performance. And of course the skulls rode perfectly. However, at some point the explanation went on and said why they would not use the whole head, as in the severed head from the body, and they were explaining that the thing doesn't roll properly and blah blah blah. Also, I've seen people kick animal heads, but that is just for, I was going to say fun. It's not for fun. It is for the display of it, for like the visual effect of it, because it's completely ridiculous using that to play Choran. It's not. It doesn't work. It does not work. You need a sphere to play Choran. So that's why I know. Yeah. Let's be honest, says Pichu, profanity with dead bodies have been made all over the world. Yes, it has. It has been made. It continues to, unfortunately. It continues to be tradition at some places. Anyway, Shāh-nāmeh didn't want to be the opponent of Afrasiab. He wanted to be in his team. Afrasiab was pleased by this and thought everyone else's remarks were mere chaff in the wind by comparison. Nevertheless, he insisted, by the head and soul of Kavus, you are not to play against me. And see you do well, so that no one says I have made a bad choice for an opponent. Shāh-nāmeh replied, I and all the warriors here and the game itself are yours to command. So for himself, the king selected a handful of people. I'm not going to read all the names because you you're gonna forget them. They're not important. But what you need to know is that he is playing with Garzibaz. Do you remember him? He's another general, and Piran in his team. To Seavash's side, he sent some of his own henchmen, including Ruin and the famous Shide, the son. And Seavash, however, said, "Which of these men is going to try for the bow? They all belong to the king, and I will be the only one playing on my side. If you would allow me, I would choose some of my own men, because of course who is going to dare playing against the king to properly, go against him?" The king agreed, and Seavash selected 7 Iranians who were worthy of the honor. Remember that Seavash did not travel alone. He traveled with, I think it's 300 horsemen. And he has his companion, his most loyal people are there with him. So, at the field's edge, drums thundered out, cymbals clashed, and trumpets blared. The ground seems to shake with the din, and dust rose into the sky as the horsemen took the field. But Shah, this is now a sports event. Now we are watching a sports series. I am not going to dare to play a commentator. How do you call it as a sports person? But seriously, how do you call it in English to the person that's narrating the event as it occurs? Because I don't know myself. I don't know the word. I think I've never in my entire life I've used that word in English. So if you could tell me, that would be fantastic. Anime sports tournament. Yes. This is suddenly. This is oh, I forgot the name of the anime. I really like it. What's the name of this? The basketball one. Oh no. Sportscaster. Oh, thank you, Loco. Hi, by the way. What is the name of these? No, it's not Chicho Terremoto. It's sorry, I need to look for this. It completely escaped my mind. I forgot. Damn it. It's not Kuroro. It's not Kuroro no Basket. No. Damn it. Sorry. The one with the crows. Have you watched it? Yes, I am typing it. Andrés Motos. No es Andrés Motos. No, I can't. Haikyuu! Haikyuu. God, I hate when that happens. No, Oliver y Benji no, Slamdance tampoco. Decía baloncesto. Haikyuu. Yeah, this is Haikyuu. Okay. Willy Fox, sí, bueno. D'Artagnan y los 3 mojeperros. Okay, so dear Bacha, the field is taken. The king struck the ball up toward the clouds. Seavash urged his horse forward, and before it touched the ground, he smote the ball so hard that it disappeared from sight. Afrasiab ordered another ball to be tapped towards Seavash. The prince lifted it to his lips, and the sound of trumpets and drums rang out. Then he mounted a fresh horse, tossed the bow into the air, and hit it with such a blow with his mullet that it seemed to rise to the moon sphere. Is the egg about the 7 layers of the sky? As if the sky had swallowed it. The king laughed out loud, and his nobles were startled enough to exclaim, "We've never seen a horseman with such skills." Afrasiab then said, "This is how a man who has God's far behaves." A real pavilion had been erected at the field's edge, and there Shāh-nāmeh sat with the king, because he's done enough apparently, who gazed happily at his princely guest. Then he called to the warriors, "The field, mullets, and bowls are yours. Enjoy, just play." The two sides fell to, and dust rose up, obscuring the sun. The Turanians strove hard to get possession, but without success. Shāh-nāmeh was alarmed by the Iranians' behavior and called out, watch this, listen to this, in Pahlavi. This is the first time in the Shāh-nāmeh we've seen this in the Shāh-nāmeh. Supposedly, these ancient kings spoke in Pahlavi, not in Persian. And he said, "This is a playing field, not a battlefield for you to be raging and struggling like this. Give way and let them have the ball for once." He's scolding his own men because they're being aggressive, they're being harsh, they're being... The Iranians then let the reins go and stopped encouraging their horses. The Turanians struck the bow and rushed forward like fire. When Afrasiab heard the Turanians shout of triumph, he realized what the sentence in Pahlavi had meant. He said to Shāh-nāmeh, "I've been told that you have no equal as a bowman." Shāh-nāmeh, knowing he could display his skills before Afrasiab, drew his Kayanid bow from its casing, and Afrasiab asked to look at it and have one of his men test it. He praised it highly and handed it to Garzivaz, ordering him to string it. Why is this? Because traditionally, these kind of bows are not stringed constantly because that deteriorates quite noticeably the wood. What you do is that you take the bow and you pass it behind your leg and then press onto it and clasp the string from one end to the other. It is difficult. That I did quite a lot because I didn't shoot from the horse, but I shoot on land. And it's fun. It is quite fun because it's not how normally we see bows depicted in series, in video games, in films. Absolutely not. It's little to nothing to do with that. But this is how these bows were used. And but Garzivaz struggled to notch the string, but to his chagrin was unable to. Shāh-nāmeh took the bow from him, knelt, bent back the shaft, and strung it. The king laughed and said, "Now that is the kind of bow a man needs. When I was young, I had one just like that, but times have changed. There is not another man in Iran or Turan who could manage this bow in battle, but Shāh-nāmeh, with his great chest and shoulders, wouldn't have any other." And then a target was set up at the end of the list without saying a word to anyone. Shāh-nāmeh mounted his horse, yelled his war cry, potentially in Pahlavi, we don't know, and galloped forward. One arrow struck the center of the target, and as the warriors watched, he notched another, made of poplar wood with 4 feathers, to the string, and in the same charge, again transfixed the target. Like in Brave, like in Robin Hood, like in so many films in Hollywood. The Shāh-nāmeh did it first. Gripping the reins in his right hand, he wheeled around and once again sent an arrow home. Then he slipped the bow over his arm, rode back to the king, and dismounted before him. The king stood and called down blessings on him, and the two made the way happily back to the palace. So as you see, they're quite enjoying each other's company. They're having gotten it. Yeah, definitely. No, Pichu, you're right. Melee combat and archery are very, very, very different than the ones we see on television. And yeah. They sat to food and wine, and accompanied by courtiers worthy of that honor. And after a few draughts had been downed and the company was growing merry, they toasted Shāh-nāmeh. While they were still feasting, Afrasiab conferred a splendid robe on Shāh-nāmeh, a horse with all its trappings, a sword and a diadem, clothes and a quantity of uncut cloth, the like of which no one had ever seen. Silk, purses stuffed with coins, turquoises, male and female slaves, and a goblet filled with rubies. He ordered that all these be counted out and then conveyed to Shāh-nāmeh's palace. You see, because he's adding to these treasury that Shāh-nāmeh has already for his own. He commanded his kinsmen to think of themselves as a flock, of which Shāh-nāmeh was the shepherd. Then he turned to the prince and said, "We must go hunting together. We will enjoy ourselves, and the hunt will put sad thoughts out of our minds." Shāh-nāmeh said, "Whenever and wherever you wish." And so one day, accompanied by a group of Turanian and Iranian warriors, they started out with cheetahs and hawks for the hunt. Yes, you heard me correctly. In Iran, you just don't go hunting with dogs. That's boring. That's basic. You have hunting trained cheetahs. Cheetahs, I'm saying. You train bloody cheetahs to be your hounds. People doesn't know that you can have fun without killing animals. You know what, Pichu? I'm very glad that you bring this up, because I don't know if any of you had watched or known of a BBC series from a while back. I'm talking for a while back in time, called Merlin. The series narrated the adventures of a very young wizard Merlin and very young King Arthur and their, endeavors throughout their life. And it was good fun. So the thing is, at some point, these thing that, oh yeah, hunting will put sad thoughts out of our minds. These always makes me remember of a particular episode in which Prince Arthur, I might say, Prince Arthur did not appear, is explaining why he was not present at something, and then he said he was feeling heartache, he was brokenhearted, therefore he went on a hunt. His stepsister Morgana, who's there, drops the sentence, the question, and she very sharply asks, does killing things mend a broken heart? And then Arthur replies, no, but it is good fun. So yes, you are correct, Pichu. I mean, do you know the series I'm talking about? Did you ever watch Merlin? Ever? And Gatzelot, you want to know how did they manage to train the cheetahs? They would capture a cheetah and then tame it and basically breed the animals inside the palace. The same as you would train a dog. Because we have this concept, this idea of wild animals that, for certain, a cheetah is a wild animal, but dogs were so too, back in the day. So you would just keep them in captivity and train them to be your pets, your hunting animals. And this is this is not the Iranians, the only ones who did this. The Egyptians did as well, the Assyrians did as well. I'm feeling the presence of a jinn around me. Hi. The jinn are coming to visit. But yeah, it's something quite recurrent in the ancient world, and it was passed on to the courts. And I believe in India was also usual. I don't know that much about India. Apologies if I'm making a mistake. But yeah, not only cheetahs. I'm thinking cheetahs, tigers, leopards. However, cheetahs are faster. Duh. I know, I stated the obvious, but that's the reason why you would want them as your hunting hounds. A series called Merlin, but Merlin's meant to be a dragon. Yes, that one. It's that's from where the code is. But it's that Uloko, it's the ancient version of men posting the fishing pics on social media. Oh my god, that is painfully and devilishly accurate. It is. Uloko, you stand correct. It is. Yes. So Shāh-nāmeh spied a wild... Okay, don't laugh. I will, for you, because I am 6 years of age, mentally. The ass, I'm talking about the animal, You're nasty. Servas spied a wild ass on the plain and left the group behind as he set off like the wind in pursuit. His reins grew light, his stirrups heavy, as he galloped forward over the rough terrain. He caught up with the onaga and slashed it in two with his sword. Sorry, I lost the line for a moment. The two halves were absolutely equal in weight, as if his hands were a balance and the animal weighed silver. And when the king's companions saw this, they exclaimed, "Here, there is a swordsman worth of the name." But to one another, they murmured, "Ooh." And they said, "An evil has come to us from Iran. Our leader is put to shame by him. We should oppose the king in this." This is where it's starting. Servas rode on through gullies, over mountains and across the plain, bringing down prey with arrows, sword and lance, piling up carcasses everywhere, until the group was sated with hunting and made its way cheerfully back to the king's palace. Whether in good spirits or gloomy, the king wished to be with no one but Servas. He took pleasure in his company alone, no longer admitting Gardivas into his confidence. Oh, day and night he spent with Servas, and it was Servas who was always able to bring a smile to his lips. In this way, with all its mingled joy and grief, a year went by. And my beautiful dear Bacha, this is where we are stopping for today's session. Now, Vichu, no, they truly were friends. This is not, when they are friends, I tell you, but this is not, it's not like that. Afrasiab, it's really feeling this fatherly sentiment towards Servas. Servas is just lovable, pan de Dios, a bread of God that must be protected from everything. But you see, not everyone is happy that Afrasiab is spending too much time with him, because apparently he cannot do anything else. He just wants to be with Servas, and he's pushing away slowly but steadily the people in his trust from before the Iranian prince came to Turan. But we're gonna stop here. Thank you so much, my beautiful Bacha, for coming to the reading. I hope you have enjoyed yourselves and you had a very fun time. I am one to love the Shāh-nāmeh, you know this already, and these readings are always my favorite. They are. And thank you so much for coming. That would be it. Thank you for the time and thank you for the enjoyment. This has been okay. This reading has been okay. I mean, we've been through worse. For these streams, absolutely. Let's just boo. The bag is still in here. I am a terrible person. So, Bacha, in the meantime, if you want to stay in touch, you can support me on Patreon. Thanks to my patrons, because they are the sole reason I am here. Or you can join our socials. We thanks to you. We are on Instagram, Discord, and Blue Sky. And also we have a Telegram channel that you can join. You can't participate on the Telegram channel, but it is much more like a way of staying informed of what is happening, of events, conferences, live streams, stuff like that. I just use it for that. I'm going to say that, Pichu. I'm going to say that, don't worry. And again, thank you so much for your company. I'm going to use Pichu's goodbye for today. Remember to create, to explore, and do not play with polar skulls, especially not with your own skull. And remember to have loads of fun until we see each other in another Read Aloud session. This has been a pleasure, and I bid you now, Khodafis.